وآتينا
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Karibu katika Sabah Show, awamu ya uchambuzi wa magazeti, tukipeperusha moja kwa moja katikati mwa jiji la Nairobi katika msikiti wa Jamia Mosque. Jina langu ni Ibtisam Jamal na natumai ubuheri na afya. Hii leo katika uchambuzi wa magazeti siko peke yangu kama kawaida, niko na Abubakar. Assalamu alaikum, karibu. Na Abdul Hakim Kigen, karibu. Na natumai si wageni katika awamu yetu ya siku ya Jumatano. Pamoja mtazamaji, tutaweza kufanikisha uchambuzi huu na kukujuza yale yaliyotokea katika mataifa mbalimbali ya ulimwenguni na hata taifa letu la Kenya. Katika gazeti letu la kwanza la People's Daily tumeona kwamba ni counties face strike as revenue row rages. Ni kwamba hata madaktari na nasi pia wameunga mkono, wakisema kwamba iwapo hawatalipwa siku ya Jumatatu wiki ijayo wataweza kusimamisha kazi. Hii itaweza kuathiri Wakenya wengi, ukiangalia kwamba huduma za kaunti zitaweza kusimamishwa kazi, baadhi ya madaktari na wahudumu wa afya pia wataweza kusimamisha kazi. Abubakar, kama Mkenya, unaona itaweza kukugusa kwa njia moja au nyingine?
Now the issue of health workers striking, of course it will affect the average Kenyan, because not everyone can afford, private hospitals. Yeah. So it will affect people a great deal, but the idea of taking devolution to the health sector, devolving the health sector to the counties, it was a good idea at first. But what we should do, we shouldn't, devolve and let counties run by themselves as such. We should have a kind of monitoring from the national government, that if a certain county government is unable to run its health sector properly, because as much as it's in the hands of the county government, these are issues that are affecting Kenyans. So in one way or another, it's still a national crisis, you understand? So we devolved health sector, but if the workers are not paid and such, we should have the national government, the Ministry of Health, monitoring down to the Ministry of Health in counties, so that we do not have such problems, so that we can have that transition of devolving various sectors of not only health. In future we might have education being devolved and such. If we are going to face the same problems you're having in the health sector, I think then we should not go towards that direction. But what the national government should do, a kind of monitoring, and where the county governments, if you have persistent cases that a county government has not paid the health workers for 5 months, then I think it should be the power of it running that the sector in which it has failed, it should be taken back to the national government, so that we do not have Kenyans suffering.
Abdul Hakim, do you think the government should help more, should at least make sure that reimbursement of money to the county government is on time, because not everyone is affected? Yeah. Everyone is affected. So if the county government's workers will strike, does it mean everything will be at a standstill?
Yeah, it is. In my opinion, it is very disappointing that we have to go to this extent, that the county government has to go to this extent, to the extent of a shutdown, just to get their constitutional right. We have to go back and look at where this issue all started. The Council of Governors, they are seeking 15% of the general revenue that is collected by the government of Kenya, and that is in accordance with the Constitution of Kenya, that that the counties should be allocated at least 15%. But currently they are being given around 11-12%. And once we start slacking behind in the execution of things concerning devolution, eventually devolution will fail. And the Council of Governors has refused what the National Treasury wants to give them, and they are saying that we won't take the money and we won't pay our workers. We'll go to a shutdown. It is a way. It is a channel that they want, a way that they want the national government to listen to them. But it's really disappointing that we have to get this extent just to give the counties their constitutional right, because we can't be upholding the constitution on one side and playing total hypocrisy on the other. So it is very disappointing. The issue needs to be resolved in the immediate time possible, because, you know, shutdown of hospitals and other things will lead to very terrible, despicable things.
But the President Uhuru Kenyatta told the county governments to be pleased with whatever they have, because the national government doesn't have enough money. What is it a misunderstanding? You are laughing.
Yeah, you know, first,
Abubakar.
as much as we are saying that, you know, county governments are not been given enough money, you know, county governments at first, whatever they are receiving from now, they hope to one time receive 35% of the national government's revenue. They hope, but now, if these people cannot manage up to 15%, how can we then trust them with that 5%? The money, you know, if all sectors, because we tend to blame the national government, say these people are not being given enough funds, that's why the health sector, they are not paying workers, that's why, you know, they are seeking more funds. But how well are they utilizing what they are being given?
Exactly.
You know, because you are seeing now the county government has become a channel where you can loot to your best.
I think that the conversation of corruption is another conversation altogether. Because you can't tell me that we won't give these people their constitutional right just because they are misusing what they have. I mean, in the national government, you are having even bigger corruption. Currently, we have a CS and a PS who worked in the treasury and now are being prosecuted, are being charged.
Still on corruption, the Star, the front page, says why Waititu faces fresh charges over car sober scheme. EACC has completed investigations into shillings 1 billion program. DPP Haji to decide charges in the coming days. We were talking about the same thing about corruption. We can see Waititu is facing charges. Is it that the national and the county governments zote ziko corrupted in one way or the other? That's why they don't understand each other.
Corruption cuts across every part in every sector, so to speak, in Kenya. You know, it doesn't have that. It's just the levels that matter. But I think the numbers that we are hearing is really disheartening. You know, you hear of 1 billion, you hear of I don't know how many millions, and on the other hand, you see kids in schools and they are sitting on stones. They don't even have desks. You know, it's really disheartening. But the DPP and the EACC and the DCI officers, I think they have to do more than what they are doing right now, and we must upload the office of the Auditor General.
You were talking about corruption charges. Mystery of missing 5 million primary school pupils. That's the front page of the Standard. Let me just read something. According to the government data, the number of pupils is 10 million, but only 5.2 million have been captured in electronic registration system. 5.2 million numbers of pupils listed so far electronically registered system. Still corruption everywhere. You can see it's in the front page. And people who are suffering are the students, are the young people who we want to be the future leaders. Abubakar, do you think we're heading to the right direction?
You know, I think the simple fact that we realize that Waititu is involved in such a corruption scandal, that the other person, I think it's already a step towards, you know, we have talked about corruption a lot, we have condemned it, but I think we are on the right track. As soon as we have started having, you know, governors being taken to court for such cases, I think we're in the right direction. All we need is to have the DCI is doing a great job, the auditors are doing a great job. Now it's for the court system to do its work. And for the issue of, you know, we are having 10.1 million students allegedly, but 5.2 only million are registered. It might, you know.
Kigen is laughing.
You know,
I think it's pain. It's the pain.
It sounds to me like a big fat joke. You know, sometimes in Kenya we have this ghetto mentality. You know, even in our ministry offices, and you wonder where this thing come from. I mean, that is half. That is half of the pupils in schools, and you wonder. It's really a shame that in 2019, with all the technologies that are there, that the Ministry of Education can only cater for half. And you know, I can smell the coffee that by this, you know, by this data, somebody somewhere wants to use this data for his or her own gain. Because in Kenya, it's just Kenya, the corruptions comes courtesy of conspiracies. And this to me looks like a conspiracy.
Yeah. When we look at the front page of Taifa Leo says polisi Mungiki, maafisa wa hunu usalama wabuni magenge kuhangaisha wananchi wakidai ada haramu. It's when you think the police will protect you are the ones who are hurting you. Where are we heading as Kenya? Do you think I should trust a police after hearing this, that police are harassing normal citizens and their duty is to protect? So they're doing a different job.
I tell you,
altogether.
Police brutality is one of the worst endurances in Kenya. And trust me, it is something that people don't really talk about, really. Go and ask the people who are at Mathare Justice Center, Dandora Justice Center, Kibra Justice Center, all the justice centers, and you listen to what they tell you. The young men the only thing that speaks to the policeman that you're a criminal is how you've dressed and your hairstyle. If you have a mohawk, or if you have some dreadlocks, you are assumed to be a thief. And you know, especially the police brutality, especially in the ghettos, is really heartbreaking, because especially for young men, you know, by 9 p.m. if you are not in your house, there is a high risk that a police will be out there and he or she will shoot you. And you are no longer safe. Even when you're in your house, you're not totally safe, because something may happen around your house and they may break into your house.
Exactly. And Abubakar, they're targeting wenye vibanda, wahudumu wa matatu, waendeshaji bodaboda. Those are all people who are struggling to feed their family. They're middle class.
Yeah.
And they're targeting them. So, and then tukiangalia kwamba magenge yameongezeka. Do you think you will blame them? You will blame the youth who are harassing Kenyans? Mwisho wa siku wao pia they are being harassed by police.
You know, it's a very unfortunate incident that we are having, you know, in our country. First, you know, we have gangs terrorizing people. These gangs, the reason why they are not arrested, the police know them. They know them, but they are bribed. So they coincide with the policemen in doing these acts. Now, the policemen themselves, they have their own gangs. They are going to at night. You know, I in the streets, you walk around at 8 p.m. You'll see a Land Rover going around to bars, you know, and wines and spirits. They are collecting money, because in one way or another they will come and harass you. They'll tell you you do not have a certain certificate from, I don't know, Nairobi what, it's expired. You know, they'll find a reason if you don't give them a bribe, so that they will harass you.
Just like traffic officers.
Yeah, but no, we need to look at this. What will be the solution? Now, if the police cannot protect us, what, you know, the democracy system is that we send representatives to the parliament who are members of parliament. So I think an alternative to this is legislation. I think we have, police are too powerful, you know. As much as they are paid little salaries, these people live high lives out of corruption and, you know, taking bribe and such. So I think we have IPOA. They should look into this matter. They are there to probe the police system, to look where there is misconduct, and we should have legislations, at least, you know, that it should not be that a policeman is too powerful that he can harass people in the streets. And I think we should go back to our MPs should be more closer to the people, because we should be able to tell them, these are the problems you are facing. Is it possible for us to make legislation so that you can solve these problems? But we do not see that happening.
Talking about MPs, the Daily Nation front page says, scandal of MPs on gravity train to US. Trips by MPs, senators, MCAs and clerks, assemblies, it cost us Kenyans about 100 million. 100 million, if it's channeled to other sectors like health, it will be very essential. 100 million spent by senators, MPs, MCAs, clerks of assembly.
You're even laughing yourself when you're reading the story,
because
it sounds like a joke and it's painful at the same time. But we should not underestimate the importance of benchmarks, the importance of talks on and enlightenment of the MPs and our legislators on how they should do their work, because that's very, very vital. But on the other end, what we've seen in Kenya is we've seen that when our MPs and legislators, they've gone down to the coast for seminars and workshops, they spend most of the time at the beach. And I won't be shocked that today they're going to the US for the conference, enlightenment workshop and seminar, but I won't be shocked to find them in Las Vegas having fun.
That's how it is. That's how it is. Na mtazamaji, popote pale ulipo, uchambuzi wa magazeti unaendelea. Katika awamu yetu ya pili tutaweza kuchambua zaidi yale yaliyobobea katika mataifa na hata hapa nchini, kaunti mbalimbali. Usiende mbali, tupate tama la maji, tarejea baada ya muda usiokuwa mrefu. Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban. You are watching the Sabah Show. Keep it locked right here on Horizon TV.
Waswahili wanasema chilea utapata mwana si wako. Kwa majina ni Muhammad Ogura na hii ni Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Na kwetu wanatambua kama Mariam Wacharo. You're watching the Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
On the next episode.
Kwa hivyo Sheikh Abdullah Al-Fars anasema akiisherehesha hii aya ya Nabii Nuh alayhi salam, innahu laysa min ahlik, asema basi watu wasideke bure bure. Kuringa, naam, tayib, wasiringe bure bure kusema wao wanatokana na hawa na hawa. Kimfaacho mtu ni amali zake, sio nasaba yake. Amali ndio muhimu. Waliokuwa wabora na watu wao ambao walikuwa ni waovu, na Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala akakata kizazi kile na akasema kwamba sio miongoni mwao.
On the next episode.
Kumwambia mwenzako nyamaza, na wewe ushasema pia.
Ushasema.
Ukimwambia wewe nyamaza bwana, watu hutuba endelea, na wewe utakuwa ushasema. Tumesema faman lagha wa man lagha fala jum'ata lahu. Mwenye kuleta upuzi wa maneno jambo lote hakuna Ijumaa. Kwa hiyo mtu ameingia taka nyamaza kimya, asikize hutuba hata kama lugha haielewi, akete sikilize. Ndio wasio mtume kwamba ansitu wastami'u la'allakum turhamun, musikilize ile hutuba mtarehemewa na Mwenyezi Mungu.
Kuna wale ambao itikadi zao kwamba Lailatul Qadr ni tarehe 27 basi. Wanasahau kwamba Mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam anasema ikiwa unahitaji kupata fadhila huo usiku, chagua katika zile autar, katika idadi za witri, kwa sababu wengi katika maulama wanasema ule usiku hauitu usiku mmoja, bali nenda ikipishana. Huenda mwakani ikaanguka tarehe 21 usiku wake, mwaka ujao utaanguka tarehe 23. Kwa hivyo Lailatul Qadr inaenda ikipishana.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mtazamaji, karibu katika awamu yetu ya pili ya uchambuzi wa magazeti. Katika awamu yetu hii tutaweza kuchambua magazeti kwa undani, tukujuze yale yaliyotokea katika makaunti mbalimbali humu nchini, na kama kawaida siko peke yangu, tutaweza kuchambua na Abdul Hakim na Abubakar magazeti haya. Katika gazeti la People's Daily ukurasa wa 4 ni kwamba kuna ripoti imetolewa, 57% ya walimu they are not happy with the new curriculum. Surveys was carried out in 224 schools, captured opinion of 672 teachers and 56 quality assurance officers. They are not happy with the new curriculum. Everyone has mixed feelings of this new curriculum. Sosion, SG of NAT said it. The government says it's a good curriculum. Some teachers are okay with it. They were trained. What is happening, Abubakar? What is really happening with this new curriculum? Because it's like we are testing our kids. We're in a limbo, putting our kids' future at line.
First, the idea of the new curriculum, I think it was a good idea at first. Because the 844 system, because for you to gauge whether something is good or bad, you look at the effects of it. Now, we have reached a time that 844, it has been good, it has worked, but you know, it can no longer work because you have many graduates and employment are rising from it. We have people, you know, going to school, that office scholar job mentality and such. So at one point, we needed a change in curriculum. And maybe the curriculum is good, but now the problem we have is the implementation of it. Because first, you cannot impose a curriculum on people who are going to live with it. They are going to teach it. You know, you need first to show them the importance of what you're bringing. You need, you know, a 2 weeks training about something to run, 2633 something to be run for 10 years. A 2 weeks training is not enough. First, you need to show the teachers the importance of it. The training itself, it should be continuous for some time. 2 weeks training for something that will go for long, it's not enough. I mean, we need to have all heads together in this. Not that the government, yes, it thinks it's a good idea, which it is, or it may be, but not imposing it on the teachers, on the schools. We have 57% disliking it. I think actually it's a good number to start with, because if we had 70 or 80% of teachers who are not for it, then we will be having teachers who are teaching something they are not passionate about, something which they are not happy when doing it. So I think with time, we'll have teachers, you know, embracing it more, but we need not to impose the curriculum on the schools, on teachers. We need to, you know, have it all together, have a meeting and, you know, educate teachers more on this, the importance of it, then we'll have people working together.
Abdul Hakim, is it that lack of enough time to train, or as Kenyans we don't like change? We take time to adapt a change.
First of all, the 844 system is it was put in place in 1985, and you can the mutation in terms of lifestyle and then technology goes without saying. You know, we are in 2019, and the conversation that is going around in schools, and you know, this new curriculum was bulldozed into the system. You know, there wasn't the shareholders were not involved as it is supposed to be, and you've seen Sosion crying out loud on that, because right now the statistics say that 57% of the teachers, they don't even believe in what they are teaching in the first place. So I don't think it's too late to have the conversation still. I think the teachers they should not just be told that this is what you should be teaching and so on. They should be asked, what should we include in this, or what should we remove?
Because they're the ones who are with the kids every day.
They should just not be given instructions. They should be wawekwe pia wao wachangie.
Yeah, okay. And page 6, People's Daily, it says, Wakali Kwanza from soccer team to a dreaded gang. We saw on Monday night in Bamburi area, Mombasa, where people were really harassed. People were cut by Wakali Kwanzas. And they are known gangs who don't care, and they are very youthful. Do you think as the national government is not doing enough in the counties, matter of security? Because you'll see this is This is Mombasa. There was also a story in Naivasha where drivers are being killed and then dropped in Naivasha. You see, it's something which is happening. You see in Turkana, the same things. You see in Samburu, the same things which are happening. Insecurity everywhere. Wakalikwanza, and they are a very youthful gang. Very youthful gang. Do you think it's the national government is doing enough for security?
First of
and
all,
the gangs are really increasing day by day.
Yeah, very true. First of all, I think security really needs to be beefed up because we can't have a gang terrorizing people for 3 consecutive hours. I mean, that is crazy. But then we should look at the third eye. On this is a reflection of number 1, unemployment. People don't have jobs. The young men don't have jobs. And for that matter, they are resulting to such kind of things. Number 2, we have an issue of drug abuse. Because you can't just walk out of your house with a machete and go and start cutting people. You cut a person almost 10 times and you are sober. No, it doesn't happen. It means that you are under influence of something. Number 3, this is an issue of upbringing. Are parents really checking where do the kids get the money they are spending? And not just to the parents, to the brothers, to the sisters, to the aunts, to the cousins, to the uncles. Are they listening to their relatives, their young men and women beyond words? Are they checking up on them really? Because because such issues are coming out because of sometimes neglect. People don't even care about you. And number 4 is a greater question on, do we have community mentors and community counselors, people who look out for the youths and really know what is happening to them? That is something that is really, really vital.
Let me read a paragraph for you. Abu Bakr says, the team drew the best talents from Beersheba, Mwandoni, Mlaleo, Topanga, and soon became the favorite of many football fans. The team won almost all tournaments organized in the region and would be named Wakali Kwanza. So it had the best footballers in Bamburi area, Kisaune. What happened? What usually happens from a football team, best talented, everyone loves you, then you're told you are a Wakali Kwanza because you're the best, you win, and then to something which people are scared of. The same people are the same people.
You know, I think the issues that Abdul Hakim has talked about are very real. Unemployment, drug abuse and such. Now, for a football team to turn into a gang, I think it's the issue of politics. There are people who want to take advantage of these youth who are, you know, energetic but unemployed. They are facing poverty levels. Maybe they are from a football game, but the person doesn't know what they will have for supper. You understand? So I think some people with certain interest, you know, the issue of drug abuse, it all starts, you know, some politicians get their funds from selling drugs. So what they do, they take advantage of these young people who are in poverty. Yes, and where is the best place to find them? In football stadiums, because that's where they are. So I think that's how it evolved, that the people, you know, one person is influenced to join a gang because, you know, as much as you are playing football, you do not have such, the person joins a gang, influences another. So it spread all around. But insecurity is everywhere in the world, not only in Kenya. But, you know, the level varies. Now, in Coast, I think it has become a serious issue. To what extent you are seeing, you know, 30 people being injured, some killed, it's a serious issue. I think we should take Nelson Maro back to the Coast province. Because, you know, what if I were to ask the person who transferred him, what was the reason for you to transfer him? Is it that you saw, you know, the place it's fine, so somebody less hardworking can be there? I think we should take Nelson Maro back to that area because he seems to be the one with the best knowledge on how to handle this. He has an experience in this because it's a matter of, if you cannot control something to some extent, you can only manage it. So how can we manage this insecurity? We need a person who is vigilant, a person who has experience, a person who can be able to,
he's doing.
Yeah, who knows what he's doing, so that we can curb such high levels, because these are high levels of insecurity. So I think as the public, if the people of the Coast province were feeling that this man was doing them justice, then they should start campaigning that this person be brought back to the news, because their security is at hand. Yeah, their security is at hand.
When we look at page 9 of the People's Daily, it says Kenya shillings 1.5 billion. 1.5 billion for injured civil servants not yet released. It's been 10 years they're claiming the money, but the national government through Treasury has not yet released the money. They were injured while they were at work. So tell me, it's been 10 years, someone maybe was injured and then even died, but he never, ever got the money. As a Kenyan who paid taxes, do you think it's the right thing for the government to do that?
You know, the employment laws are very clear. If a person has been injured, you are subjected to paying them, compensating them, and sometimes it even goes to the extent where they are, if they are in a state that they can continue working, they should work till the end of their lives in that place. There are cases which have taken the same turn, but it's really heartbreaking to see such kind of things, you know. And I think in Kenya, sometimes you don't get you don't get a share of your right if you don't make noise. It's just a matter of making noise. So this issue really needs to be looked at immediately, because let's give people their right. Because as I always say, we can't be upholding the constitution on one side, then playing total hypocrisy on the other.
We've looked at so many sad stories, depressing stories. This is a good story. Study shows that more births recorded in Turkana, Kilifi, and Marsabit. Let me read the line. It says women in Turkana, Kilifi, and Marsabit counties are giving birth in between 5 and 7 children, which is considered the highest in the country. It's a okay. Those countries, I think, like I come from Coast, so Kilifi is the nearest. So 10 years to come or 15 years to come, will it change politics? And is it a good thing for people to just give birth? Is it a good thing for the county and for politics? We know politicians look at it at the political
They look at the numbers.
In 20 years to come, this means Turkana will have more population, more youth. Kilifi will have more youth. Marsabit will have more youth. And they're all marginalized counties. You can say Turkana, they're all marginalized. Yeah.
I think politicians look at numbers, but we are not politicians. So I think from our perspective, we should look what are the good, advantages that are arising from this. First, I think we need to applaud the First Lady for the Beyond Zero campaign because you had very high mortality rates, but now people can access free maternity services, you know, and give birth safely. We have had mobile clinics in marginalized areas, mobile clinics and such. So I think it's something good for us. It's something good that, you know, has happened, and we should continue with such initiatives. You do not need to be a first lady to such a campaign. We have NGOs, but we really don't see much that they do. So it's about the issue of how much are we doing for the community. As a person, you go to school, you do well, you are well financially, but you see, a person will not think of the community he came from. The person will think of living in Muthaiga, buying a Range Rover. You know, it's an issue of, you know, our morals, ethics, how you are brought up. I think we should give back more. We should give back to the community more in such, because these are our brothers, they are our sisters, our mothers. So we should be more considerate of other human beings by all standards.
Okay.
Some, as you've said, in that story, those are marginalized countries, counties, right? And it should be an indication that with the population rising in those areas, let's not forget that we have an issue with a problem of amenities in such areas. We don't have enough schools, enough hospitals, you know, and even if we have them, the few that we have are not in the state that is up to standard. So the conversation should really be that we should improve amenities because the population is also increasing in those areas. And just to add on another point, you know, you've said that in the future, will it add to the numbers and everything? Tyranny of numbers, of course, is very important, but in the future, I envision that with Turkana having a higher population, it should not translate into the Turkana region voting as a bloc, as a tribe to one side. Rather, the conversation should be around we should have people, in as much as you have a high population of a certain tribe or a certain community, that they should vote based not based on tribe and based on merit.
Thank you so much. Na mtazamaji, tupate pumziko fupi, tarejea baada ya muda usiokuwa mrefu. Kipindi ni Sabah Show, awamu ya uchambuzi wa magazeti. Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Jambo very simple la mwezi, kila mtu.
Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban. You are watching the Sabah Show. Keep it locked right here on Horizon TV.
Waswahili wanasema chilea chilea utapata mwana si wako. Kwa majina ni Muhammad Okura na hii ni Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Na kwetu wanatambua kama Mariam Mwacharo. You're watching the Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Mtazamaji, karibu katika awamu yetu ya tatu na ya mwisho uchambuzi wa magazeti katika kipindi ni Sabah Show. Tukiendelea na gazeti letu la The Standard, ukurasa wa 8 unasema cancer machines that remain idle for years. Let me read a paragraph so that it can hit you hard. Cancer treatment machines worth 280 million have been lying idle at the Kisumu hospital because of lack of quality staff to operate them. The machines are lying in Jaramogi Oginga Teaching Referral Hospital, were purchased by the government in 1999. 1999. Right here we are at a phase where cancer, people are saying that cancer should be a national disaster, should be declared a national disaster. And here we have machines that were bought in 1999 and we don't have qualified staff to operate them. So don't we have, we don't know how to arrange ourselves, because here we are complaining we don't have machines, we don't have quality staff, but we have. But the doctor says that there are very many oncologists and people who can operate these machines, but the government says hakuna. So we have machines and people are going up to foreign countries. Now Kenya wana suffer because hakuna treatment, and the treatment is very expensive for cancer. Does it pain you as a Kenyan? And I know that smile is not a good smile. Abdul Hakim, that is not a good smile.
This is nothing different from the mediocrity that we just see in our hospitals and other sectors. I mean, in 1999, yes, cancer was not as predominant as it is today. But you can't tell me that we can't, that in the whole of this country, with around 50 million, I think, people right now, that we can't find even one radio oncologist. Seriously? I think it's just an issue of cultural mediocrity, because the items they were bought in 1999, and I think they've just been sitting on the stores, and the people who've come with time since 1999, because that's 20 years, right? They've just been seeing the machine there, and they just haven't had the will of putting it into action. But I think now it's a wake-up call. More equipment should be bought. put into various hospitals. Especially, I don't think there is any level 5 hospital that should lack the cancer screening equipments, and they should be taken. I mean, total support of Honorable Gladys Wanga's bill that the cancer screening should be taken even to dispensaries, and it should be at 0 cost.
Abubakar, this is for you. Yeah. Hospital reports indicate that over 30 patients are diagnosed with cancer every month at the facility. And it's the same hospital which do not have staff, qualified staff to run those machines.
I think first it's the issue of effectiveness. How effective are our systems? How effective are employees in certain sectors, you know, that we have? I think for their, I'm sure there, of course we have qualified staff to run those machines in Kenya, but you know, you wonder why will they not employ or look for people who are, do they really value our lives? We ask ourselves, because we have people dying of cancer, we have 30 people being diagnosed of cancer, you have the machines, but you claim of, no, you do not have qualified staff. Maybe the issue that could be possible from this case would be, maybe they do not want to employ people from other areas. Maybe we have that barrier that, you know, these Kisumu County, so maybe they have locked the doors for people from other counties, and this is a possible challenge that you may have in our counties with the devolution as it goes, that, you know, as you go to look for employment in let's say Turkana County or a certain county, they give preference to their own, and you know, they say you're not of our county, so they won't employ you. I think that will be the only possible assumption that you could make for, or reason or excuse rather, that you would give for them not having, you know. But I think we should nationalize this. If you nationalize this, then we'll have people being posted to such hospitals. We'll have, you know, the solution at hand being solved and being simplified by the national government.
Let me pose a question. Have you ever traveled Nakuru Nairobi highway and eat meat at any time? Nyama choma?
Nyama choma, of course.
Chances are you've eaten a buffalo meat. 200 kg of buffalo meat impounded in Naivasha. KWS says impounded almost 2 kgs of buffalo that was used. According to Fred Muthui from Francis of Lake Naivasha, says most affected areas are Marula, Gilgil Weighbridge, and Roysambu areas. I have passed through those areas. I think I'm also a culprit.
Buffalo meat, I think it's sweet. From what I've heard, buffalo meat is sweet. You know, it tastes better than a cow, to be honest. But
I can't testify to that.
But I think the issue, we have very many buffaloes in those areas. You have national parks, and you know what we have is that they invade people's lands, and they're into the farm. So a person takes advantage. Why should I not kill it and sell it for meat? That's what's happening. So it's an issue of KWS. I think they're not doing much. They are not doing much. As much as you have abundant buffaloes in the area, they're not careful with them. They're not, you know, they do not see a crisis that will come. 200 kg. It's not much. It's not much. Maybe that's one buffalo. A buffalo is very heavy, to be honest.
Yeah, but
that's one
when
buffalo.
you look at tourism and animal conservation and extinction, that is a very bad thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. KWS should do more.
You know, Ibtisam, I come from Eldoret, and when I'm going home or I'm coming to Nairobi, I stop at Kikope, and the meat is sweeter than ever. And I think maybe I've eaten a couple of donkeys and buffaloes
without
for that matter.
You knowing.
But buffalo meat is very sweet. But of course, there has for consumption by Kenyans, it has to be approved. The health there must be a health approval by the Ministry of Health. I think this is a wake-up call for the livestock department in the Ministry of Agriculture, as well as the Ministry of Health, because we can't take a risk with the lives of Kenyans, because food is a determinant of your health. What you eat is how your health will be, and so the meat has to be regulated. So they have to really check. They have to be more strict.
We'll look at sports. At the last page of Standard says Gor Mahia's Oktay resigns as a head coach. It's not the first time for coaches of Kenyan clubs to resign due to personal reasons or due to, but is it because they're not being paid well? is it the management of the clubs that makes head coaches to resign? As a football fan of Gor Mahia, Abubakar.
First, I'm not a football fan.
You're not a football fan?
From Gor Mahia, I'm not a Gor Mahia fan. I'm not really Kenyan. I'm not into much into Kenya. I'm not into KPL. No, if you watch KPL matches, okay, unfortunately, we hope that the standards will be better.
You should watch.
At AFCON level, the guys were anyway. For Gor Mahia, you know, it's not the first time. I think first in the football in Kenya, we first have to look at what is the level of the football that we play. We have expatriates, Gor Mahia and AFC Leopards. Those clubs are two big clubs, and mostly they employ people from outside. They employ foreign coaches, and for Gor Mahia especially, they have done well. The coaches, Dylan Kerr was here, now Hassan Oktay was here. They produce exemplary results. So I think our coaches are not good enough to some extent. They might not be good enough, but why do they resign? I think it's the management. The management of the clubs, they're not being given enough salaries, what the results that they're producing. The living conditions, the houses and such, because it's not only for Gor Mahia club. Look at the Harambee Stars coach.
Sebastian Minu says he'll be away for some time. He will be away from the country for some time. Do you think it's also one way that he is resigning?
Starting with the fans, Kenyans can claim anything, anything but patriotism. I mean, we don't even watch our matches in the first place.
No, like Abubakar.
But I think I'll be getting hold of him throughout the weekend to force him to watch the matches.
That's a good thing, inshallah.
But coming to the Gor Mahia coach is leaving, and there is something that we need to say that people don't really want to talk about. These clubs that we have in Kenya, they have so much interferences. They have interferences even from politicians. There are people who feel like they own the club. And in that matter, they even want to determine the first 11. And that is the work of the coach, because the coach knows who plays best at which position. Exactly. But when we have interferences from external interferences saying that we should play in this place, this is how we should play, this is the formation that we should use, is you know, it's interfering with the whole process, and the coach feels like he's being underrated and he's not doing his job well.
We look at it's from your side, Eldoret, Taifa Leo page 7, Rivertex kuungana na kaunti zingine kujiboresha zaidi. It says utengenezaji wa nguo Rift Valley Textiles imeshirikiana na serikali ya kaunti zilizo katika jumuiya ya kiuchumi kaskazini mwa Rift Valley ili kuhakikisha kwamba they are doing a very good job and it doesn't flop. As someone from Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County, and as a Kenyan, do you think merging with other counties will help Rivertex not flop and at least it thrives?
Yeah, I think the merging is a positive thing, but you know, it might also face the challenges of management, because the larger the farm, you know, the difficult the management it is. But I think it's a positive thing, and it will create more job opportunities, more employment, more income to the residents of the counties that are involved in it. It's a positive thing, and it should also spread to other companies. That if you are for the idea that merging with a certain company that will bring more benefits to the citizens of the residents of the area, that I think then people should uphold it. But the issue of management might be a problem also.
I think the cooperation should extend further than just the North Rift Economic Block, because the counties in the North Rift Economic Block, they don't really grow cotton, and if they grow very little. So it should extend to other counties that really grow cotton, because that is the raw material that is really needed.
Daily Nation, page 9, it says crisis looms over U.S. blood funds cut. Let me read a paragraph. A foundation for advocacy on blood services in the country, Bloodline, is now drawing attention to a looming health crisis. Bloodline Foundation Executive Director Joseph says that total phase out of funding, it will be impossible to have a screening sites where blood can be screened and test for HIV. And then it says the 18 national testing laboratories in the country have run out of automated screening reagent. US is currently wants to cut the funding, and Kenyans will suffer, me and you, because we rely mostly on funding for screen testing of blood. It says HIV and other blood related. Do you think health services will be at crisis because we will depend more on funding rather than funding our own projects and our own laboratories?
I think, of course, it will lead to a problem. Now, we need to look at why does US have to cut the funds? Is it diplomacy issues? Is it that the US itself, I don't know if it will be facing financial problems, but I doubt. But we need to look why did they cut the funds? And if you are unable to, get a reason why they cut the funds, then we go for alternatives. If the national government should chip in, because this is an NGO. It's an NGO which was receiving the funding from US. Now, the government then should chip in. If it's not possible then for national government, then what has happened recently, people, Kenya has been taking loans from China and such. We have gone to the eastern side of the world for, being funding development projects and other issues. So if it has worked for loans and such, then we should also head there.
This is a priority crisis in the first place, because it is shocking for me as a Kenyan to come to know of this, because how comes that in the first place such a vital thing was not handled directly by the Ministry of Health? In Kenya we have like the ARVs, the contraceptives, and now the blood screening program is being run by outsiders, such critical things. I mean, those such things should have been directly handled by the Ministry of Health. Why don't we let the convoys that our politicians run around with in our country, that the convoys be handled by external countries, so that in the essence, in the case that they stop, the politicians and other leaders will just take a matatu and go to where they want, because this is something very important.
Lastly, briefly, malaria has killed 1,800 in Burundi, UN says, right now, 2019, and that's almost half of the people who are affected. It says here, 5.7 million cases of malaria have been recorded in Burundi in 2019. Out of those cases, some are 1,801 died from mosquito-borne. That's between January and July 21st. At this age, malaria still kills people.
Malaria is not killing anyone in Burundi. Let me tell you this. We are all equatorial countries. Burundi, Uganda, Kenya, even up to Congo. But in Kenya, the levels are lower. And why is it? Because because of one thing. What is the difference between Kenya and Burundi? It's political stability. Political instability is what is killing people courtesy of malaria. You see? Because when there is political instability with all the wars and clashes that we've seen in Burundi, there is no way medicine and the doctors are gonna get to places that they're going to help people. Hospitals will be shut down, schools will be shut down. So I think in as much as it's a malaria case, we should focus on the point of returning political stability in Burundi.
Thank you so much. Shukran sana Abubakar, shukran sana Abdul Hakim. Na mtazamaji, shukran sana kwa kuangalia uchambuzi wetu wa magazeti. Kumbuka katika awamu yetu ya pili tutakuwa na business chat ambapo tutazungumzia kuhusiana na importation of second hand cars. The policy of the drafting of the government which wants to ban some of those cars. Usiende mbali, kumbuka tutakurejea na mengi zaidi ya kukujuza wewe, ambapo kila mmoja anajua ako na gari ambao amenunua ni gari kuu. Jina langu ni Ibtisam Jamal na hii ni Sabah Show.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation. On the next episode,
kumwambia mwenzako nyamaza na wewe ushasema pia.
Ushasema.
Ukimwambia wewe nyamaza bwana, watu hutuba endelea na wewe utakuwa ushasema. Tumesema faman lagha waman lagha fala jum'ata lahu. Mwenye kuleta upuzi wa maneno jambo lote hakuna Ijumaa. Kwa hivyo mtu ameingia taka nyamaza kimya asikize khutba hata kama lugha haielewi, akete asikilize. Ndio wasio mtume kwamba ansitu wastami'u la'allakum turhamun, musikilize ile khutba mtarehemewa na Mwenyezi Mungu.
Kuna wale ambao itikadi zao kwamba Lailatul Qadr ni tarehe 27 basi. Wanasahau kwamba Mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam anasema ikiwa unahitaji kupata fadhila huo usiku, chagua katika zile autar, katika idadi za witri, kwa sababu wengi katika maulama wanasema ule usiku hauitu usiku mmoja, bali nenda ikipishana. Huenda mwakani ikaanguka tarehe 21 usiku wake, mwaka ujao utaanguka tarehe 23. Kwa hivyo Lailatul Qadr inaenda ikipishana.
On the next episode,
I should first love myself. Because if I'm going to be a journalist, I think the first person that should be inspired, like the person that you watched the first, to like that inspired you, is myself. Pepo ya dunia, pepo ya dunia, pepo ya dunia ni mama. Katibu katika Wizara ya Usalama wa Ndani Dr. Karanja Kibicho amesema kuwa shughuli hiyo inatarajiwa kuanza katika kipindi cha wiki 2 zijazo.
Mashaallah.
Abu Najma with kids. We learn Quran. We learn Quran. We learn Quran. We learn Quran. We learn Hadith. We learn Hadith. We learn Hadith. We learn Hadith. We learn the duas. We learn the duas. We learn the duas. We learn the duas. We love a prophet. We love a prophet. We love a prophet. We love a prophet. Papara para, papara para, papara para, papara. Abu Najma with kids. Abu Najma with kids. We learn Quran. We learn Quran. We learn Quran. We learn Quran. We learn Hadith.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are now at the Arena 1.
Just stand down.
And over here we have player of the day.
I'm back to beat Hamza's team.
Is it time?
I chose Surah Al-Mutaffifin. I don't know the names, but Nabi Isa said, I am a slave of Allah. Is it Prophet Luqman?
1 point for this team.
Welcome to Active Sunday.
Things which will happen at the last day, which is very shocking.
Waylun lil mutaffifin.
That's not fair because I wasn't here.
It's a happy, happy, happy day. Oh, what a happy day it is for Active Sunday.
Kiumbe dhaifu lakini jasiri.
Alitunukiwa sura nzima.
Sura inayompa daraja yake inavyostahiki. Sharti ajigambe.
Naam, na pepo ipo chini ya nyayo zake.
Mpamba nyumba na nyoyo za wapendwa wake.
Anayebeba majukumu yake pasina kupinga.
Mtazamaji, je, unamfahamu anayezungumziwa?
Bila ya kusahau hadhi yake na haki zake.
Ungana nami Rahma Swaleh na Sheikh Juma Amir.
Tukuelimishe na kukupa mwelekeo katika maisha ya ndoa.
Kwenye kipindi Dira ya Mwanamke.
Kila Jumamosi na Jumapili saa 2 usiku majira ya Afrika Mashariki ndani ya Horizon TV. Walk with us as we tell you the stories of our society.
Wengine atavaa mtandio kichwani, utafikiri ni kijihandkerchief.
Enzi za wakati wa kusema ati alisema, akasisitiza, akihutubia wanahabari, enzi hizo hazipo tena.
Kwa kuchimbua na kunakili matukio kwa undani.
We want to create current awareness.
Ranging from adventure, human interest and inspirational stories. Ili kuweza kukuelimisha, kukuburudisha na kukubumbuisha. Words have been said, but now it is time to lay the foundation that will impact the world.
Terrorism is terrorism, no matter who is behind the trigger.
Jambo very simple la mwezi, kila mtu ana lake. Hawa wasema tuelekee huku, wale wasema tuelekee kule. Amati nas, watu wa katikati hawajui, watu wa kawaida hawajui wafuate lipi. Confusion. Leo ni Ramadhani si Ramadhani, leo ni Idi si Idi, na kadhalika. La sivyo, lazima tuwe na mwelekeo mmoja. Mwenyezi Mungu Subhanahu wa Ta'ala kila siku ametuamrisha katika sala tusome surat al-Fatiha, ihdina sirata al-mustaqim, ewe Mwenyezi Mungu tuongoze njia iliyonyoka. Sasa sisi tunatakana tuelekee njia iliyonyoka. Mbona twenda huku na kule, na kila mmoja ni kiongozi, kila mmoja sema lake, kila mmoja ataka kufuatwa yeye.
On the next episode,
Umar vile vile misali fajr, akimwona Abubakar anamwambia, jana mimi usiku sikulala vizuri, usiku mzima nilikuwa nakufikiria wewe Saidina Abubakar, njoo nikupiga makamba, njoo nikukumbatie. Saidina Abubakar Umar akamkumbatia Saidina Abubakar. Mapenzi kati ya masahaba yalikuwa kweli, watu wanapendana.
زمن جميل كان فيه سمونا، كانت به أمجادنا تتوالى.
Whoever believes in Allah and the last day, let him maintain strong family ties. A hadith that I came across, which made me decide to make a surprise visit to my sister in Pennsylvania. When I read it, I was overcome by shame, since the last time I actually saw my sister was last year, when she asked me to babysit her daughter Fatima. My sister asked me to take care of Fatima for a few days as she was about to give birth to a second daughter. To be completely honest, I had no clue how to take care of a baby girl. I could hardly take care of myself, but I couldn't say no to my sister. When my brother-in-law dropped her off, she didn't even know how to say my name. I had no idea how I was supposed to entertain her. I didn't even know how to break the ice. So I started reflecting on how the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, dealt with the children around him. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was so loving to everyone, but at the same time he was particularly compassionate to children. He would constantly be seen playing with them, joking with them, embracing them, visiting them when they were sick, lifting their spirits when they were down. He would even try to speak to the non-Arab children in their own languages just to show them that he loved them just as much. And a young girl could take his hand and walk him all around Medina without him letting go of her hand until she let go of his. When Al-Hassan and Hussein used to jump on his back while he was praying, he used to wait for them to come down and then place them on his lap gently. He once said, "When I stand for prayer, I enjoy prolonging it, but once I hear a child crying, I cut it short so that I don't cause distress to the child's mother." We often get impatient with children, forgetting that we were once them, and sometimes still act like them. And one day they will be like us, and hopefully show us mercy the way we showed it to them. The Prophet, peace be upon him, showed interest in their interests. He played with their toys. He even once asked about one of the kids' birds, saying, "Ya Umair, ma fa'ala an-nughayr?" We seem to forget at times that loving children is of the easiest sunnahs and of the easiest ways by which we gain Allah's love. For our Prophet, peace be upon him, said that those who do not show compassion will not receive it. Compassion is a natural part of our humanity, and it's even further enhanced through our Islam. However, if it isn't cherished and exhibited, we may lose it forever. Imagine how different the world would be if we were all just a little bit more loving and kind to our family members. And love is not only expressed through words. The Prophet, peace be upon him, despite carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders, still paid attention to the small things like drinking from the same part of the glass, sneaking in a surprise kiss, even challenging you to a surprise race. There wasn't a chore too small nor a moment too quick for him to show you that he loved you and was paying close attention to you. Oh Fatima, you have no idea how much I miss you. You may be young, but you've taught me so much. You've taught me how to follow the example of our greatest teacher in being loving and caring towards one's family. Rasulullah, I don't know how you did it, how you managed to care for this ummah the way you did while being anything but neglectful to your family. Your greatness as a husband and father was just as remarkable as your greatness as a leader.
Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu said, "Never make a decision in anger, and never make a promise in happiness."
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahi rahmani rahim. Ikiwa tarehe 6 mwezi Dhulhijja mwaka 1440 sawia na tarehe 7 ya mwezi Agosti mwaka 2019, karibu katika Business Chat. Wakati wa Mtume Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, usafiri ulikuwa ni wanyama kama vile ngamia na farasi. Enzi za sasa kila Mkenya anatumia magari, si kwamba ati ni starehe, ni mahitaji. Sekta uchukuzi humu nchini imeonyesha kwamba Wakenya wengi wanatumia magari kama necessity. Na hii leo tutaweza kuzungumzia swala la mpango wa serikali kuweza kupiga marufuku uagizaji wa magari makuu humu nchini. Magari makuu namaanisha second hand cars. Karibu katika Business Chat. Jina langu ni Ibtisam Jamal, na ili kuweza kufanikisha kipindi hiki siko peke yangu, niko na Michael kutoka Trade Car View, karibu. Niko na Jackson Ombua, research officer from CAM. Niko na Michael Moses Akadila, majina yenu inafanana, karibu sana. Let me start something. The Kenya Ministry of Industrial and Trade is proposing a total ban of importation of second-hand cars, models that can be assembled locally. Why is the government planning to ban importation of some used cars in Kenya? I start with Jackson.
Thank you for the opportunity. And I don't know which document you're making reference to, because the document that is on the social media and the website of the ministry, it's the latest version of 4. The latest is the version 4, and does not talk about total ban. Rather, it talks about phased out approach of the fully built units of second-hand cars that are available in the market, and that can be locally assembled. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Our interpretation
Michael,
as used car importers is totally different, because actually the document is still in a consultative stage, but our understanding, according to the last meeting that we had, is they're going to phase out used cars eventually, because it's supposed to come by 2022 it's going to be 0. So that means by 2022 there's not going to be any used car coming from Japan or any other market. So based on that, we feel that we are a bit sidelined as used car dealers, because it wasn't consultative. And then again, we also need to know whether we have that capacity as Kenya to be able to make the cars here. Because most of these cars come as CBUs, which are completely built units. So even if the local franchise holders say that those cars are assembled here, most of them, actually a big number of them, come as completely built units. The only thing that they can do here is maybe service and a few other things. So that proposal actually is still there, but it needs to have more consultations to all the stakeholders. Yeah.
Moses, what are your sentiments regarding the same topics of banning importation cars?
Okay, thank you for having me in the studio.
Yeah,
now, the good news, I may say, let me call it good news, is because the ban was supposed to be effected in July, from 1st July. But after a lot of consultation with different people, there are some stages of this information which had been skipped. So the good news is that it was not implemented, and as my colleague has just said, that the consultation are still going on, but we still hope that it cannot be, it may not be implemented, because it will have a lot of negative impacts on the whole economy and even to the consumers of these vehicles.
Yeah, in case...
But just as you were saying that the government is intending to, we know whatever proposal the government comes up, it will still get a way of implementing the same thing. So I don't know when they may plan to bring it back, but I know behind the scenes maybe there's some things going on which we are not very certain about as of now. But I may say that we were lucky that it was not implemented as it was scheduled on 1st of July. Although there's some news that they are still planning to introduce it very soon, but it won't be very healthy for us.
Okay. Jackson, in case the policy is really implemented, what is the pros and cons?
Thank you. One thing we should acknowledge is that the government is at forefront of revitalizing or manufacturing sector in the country. And under the Big Four agenda, the manufacturing sector is expected to contribute 15% by 2022. We are less than 3 years to 2022. And the statistics by Kenya Bureau of Statistics shows that the latest, as of 2018, the sector contributed 7.7%. That means there's a gap of 7.3%. One of the sector that has high potential to grow manufacturing is the automotive sector. And if I may, you may allow to demystify the automotive sector. People think the automotive sector is basically the cars that you see. But there is the component manufacturers, there are the parts manufacturers, there are the assemblers now. And there's another upcoming sector, subsector, within the automotive sector that we call bus body builders, that you see the matatus, that you see the trucks that very goods are across. So the policy that was being proposed by the Ministry of Industrialization was in tandem with the policy direction by the government under the Big Four agenda. And that is exactly what the government want to drive. As a sector, to drive that, of course, there must be guidelines. And we are happy to say Kenya Association of Manufacturers is part of, and was part of, towards pushing to have this policy enacted, passed, to drive the sector and give the guidance on how the sector can grow. And you look back in 1970s, the government of Kenya had intention to grow the sector. And down the line, you remember the Nyayo car, that was the vision to have a Kenyan-made car. There were incentives that were meant, protection that was brought on board. But later on in 1990s, you find that there was a bit of liberalization and opening of a market, Kenya going into a common custom union with EAC. So there are things that we had to give and take. That opened up a market, and that's where we are now. And now the challenges that we've had is the influx of the second-hand card, vis-a-vis what we are able to do. In 1990s, 80s, we had a production up to 13,000 cars. But today, the assemblers hardly make 6,000 cars, which is equivalent to around 20% of what they're able to produce annually. So given opportunity, this is a sector that can really grow and give industry the trajectory that it deserves.
So it will thrive and help our economy.
Yeah.
Michael, do you think if the policy is really enacted, how will it affect Kenyans?
Okay, it will affect Kenyans in the sense that, of course, number one, there are going to be job cuts. The companies are going to downsize. If you compare the number of employees that are in the used car business versus the franchise holders, you can't compare the numbers, because as the showrooms actually all over Kenya are close to 2,000 showrooms, which are employing people directly and indirectly. That is number one. Number two, the government is actually going also to lose a lot of revenue, because we contribute to a huge number of the revenue for this country in terms of taxes and related costs that once we import the cars. And also, I'd equally say that we as used car importers, we would want to see like a car manufacturer assembled in Kenya. We don't oppose that at all. It's only that we feel it's too soon for that to happen. And then also we are still not consulted, because now, for example, the used car dealers locally like bring in close to 20,000 cars in a span of like 2 months, which, for example, right now we're at KCV. KCV is ending. If we compare the number of cars that we have imported as used car importers versus the number of cars that local franchise holders are selling, you can't match the numbers. So we still need a lot of time for that consultation to happen. And we're also asking ourselves as used car importers, if the local franchise holders are deemed to say that they are going to start manufacturing the cars here, do we have that manpower? Number one, are we going to have the Chinese coming here to take the jobs of which a Kenyan can do? Because we cannot match like the demand that we have currently versus the assembly. The demand for cars currently, in terms of the numbers that are moving in the number plate, you can see the cars are coming 20,000. Some of them end up in showrooms, some of them have already been sold out. Are we going to match that demand versus the features? Because you see, a client that is coming to a showroom for a used car, they already have a preset mindset of the car they're looking for. If it's a premium, they want a reverse camera, they want alloys, they want leather, and etc. Are we going to make such a quality car that is coming from, for example, Japan, same quality versus the one that we're making from the local franchise holder? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. So on the flip side, I'd say we would want to see the cars assembled. We don't oppose that at all. Only that we are saying it's too soon for us to for that to happen, and we still need a lot of time. I've had a previous engagement with selling trucks, zero mileage trucks, because right now I'm in the used car business. I tell you, with the engagement I had with fabricators, that made me to have an exposure to know that the government needs to start with the commercial first. Then once the commercial works, then we can come to the private vehicles. Because commercial, for example, those are the matatus and the lorries, those cars do a lot of trips. So if you, for example, go to a local franchise holder and buy a truck that is a zero mileage, you take it to the fabricator, it's built there. If we harmonize that, and that first of all happens and works, I think that's from that point we can come now to the private cars, because a bigger percentage of the cars that we sell are the private cars, not the commercial. So I think the government needs to first of all start with the commercial and make sure that commercial works first, then come to the private.
When you look at the government previously wanted to reduce the age limit of second-hand cars imported in Kenya from 8 to 5. When you look at a country at Uganda, they wanted to reduce it from 10, ended up increasing by 15. DRC, it is 20 years. Moses, do you think the government's plan to even reduce the age limit to 5, is it a good thing?
It's not a good thing, and it cannot work. I'll give you a very good example. In Japan, where we normally get these used cars, we always have around 60,000 cars on sale in auction every week.
Every week.
Ranging from year of manufacture from 1980 to 2018. When they are selling these cars in Japan, they actually don't intend to export all these cars. They also do it for their local market. So an economy like Japan, they also use the same used cars. Maybe you buy a new car, you use it for 2 years, then you sell it to a different person. So it doesn't mean that this car is a substandard car, because they're also buying it for their own, because these cars are very nice. Actually, if I was to be asked, I could also recommend that we import cars for even 15 years, because you could get a car which is a zero mileage in Kenya, which has done like 30,000 kilometers for 1 year. You could still get a car in Japan which has done just 15,000 kilometers. So would you say that because the car is old, does that mean that the car is not, how do I put it? The car is a substandard car because it's a used car? No. So it will have a very, very bad impact on us. The other thing, it's actually the government which is shooting itself, because the last like 15 years, that's when most of the used cars started coming in large numbers. My friend was saying that the influx, I think he used the wrong term, that influx of used cars. Because the government created an economy whereby now people needed more cars. The manufacturers were not able to meet that demand at that time, and people have money in their pockets. The government is making roads all over. People need now to get to maneuver.
Owning a car has become a necessity.
It is a necessity. So, and the used cars is what is bridging in the gap, because you are able to buy a car, a serviceable car, in your budget. You see? So all of a sudden, when the government says that it wants again to stop that, and it is the same government which has created a room for people to own the cars. So I feel it's actually, it won't be good at all.
Mr. Jackson, reducing the age limit, is it how will it affect Kenyans? And is it a good thing?
For me, I think it's a good thing. We are there already. We are operating at 8 years old. But for your information, the government does not intend to reduce age limit for all cars. The focus, even in the policy, is to reduce age limit for cars that are over and above 1500 cc. The government is resonating with the Mwananchi that the 1500 cc cars are commonly used in Kenya by common Mwananchi. Over and above 1500 is what now government looks saying, why can't we start with this? And I thank my brother here by saying we can start with the commercial part. That is where we are. And there is no intention by the government, and I'm not speaking on behalf of the government, rather I'm making reference to the policy that is existing. It makes reference of phased out mechanism of cars, of fully built used cars for over and above 1500 cc. So it's not going to affect the entire segment of the cars, rather the specific segment of the cars. But there are negotiations under the same framework. The car traders and the importers, they were also proposing to have like 200,000 cc. We begin from there and see what will happen. Those are some of the negotiations that I think can be brought on the table if we are to grow the economy. See, countries like India and even South Africa began from there. Today we import most of the high-end cars from countries like South Africa. Those are the intentions that the government wants to buy in, and I think it's in the goodwill for all common mwananchi to do the same. Yeah.
Michael will come back to you and Moses will come back to you. Na mtazamaji popote pale ulipo, kumbuka unaweza kuchangia katika madai kupitia mitandao yetu ya kijamii at Facebook Horizon TV Kenya, Instagram na Twitter. Pia unaweza kupiga simu au kutuma ujumbe mfupi kupitia nambari zetu zilioko katika runinga yako. Tupate pumziko fupi, tutarejea baada muda usio mrefu.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation. On the next episode,
kumwambia mwenzako nyamaza na wewe ushasema pia.
Ushasema.
Kumwambia wewe nyamaza bwana, watu hutuba endelea na wewe utakuwa ushasema. Tumesema faman lagha wa man lagha fala jum'ata lahu. Naam. Mwenye kuleta upuzi wa maneno jambo lote hakuna Ijumaa. Kwa hivyo mtu ameingia taka nyamaza kimya, asikize hutuba hata kama lugha haielewi, akete sikilize. Ndio wasio mtume kwamba ansitu wastami'u la'allakum turhamun, musikilize ile hutuba mtarehemewa na Mwenyezi Mungu.
Kuna wale ambao itikadi zao kwamba Lailatul Qadr ni tarehe 27 basi. Wanasahau kwamba Mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam anasema ikiwa unahitaji kupata fadhila huo usiku, chagua katika zile autar, katika idadi za witri. Kwa sababu wengi katika maulama wanasema ule usiku haui tu usiku mmoja, bali nenda ikipishana. Huenda mwakani ikaanguka tarehe 21 usiku wake, mwaka ujao utaanguka tarehe 23. Kwa hivyo Lailatul Qadr inaenda ikipishana.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Karibu mtazamaji katika Business Chat. Mada yetu ya leo ni iwapo serikali itaweza kupiga marufuku uagizaji wa magari makuu, yani second hand cars, itaweza kuathiri vipi Mkenya? Itaweza kukuathiri vipi wewe mtazamaji? Unaweza kutuma maoni yako kupitia mitandao yetu ya kijamii at Horizon TV Kenya, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, au unaweza kupiga simu au kutuma ujumbe mfupi kupitia nambari zetu za simu zilizo katika runinga yako. Tukiendelea na mada yetu, hapa wale ilikuwa tumeweza kuzungumza iwapo in case the government does that, drafts the policy and is enacted, how will it help our manufacturing industry and our economy? Because so many jobs will be created, our economy will improve. That's the positive side. Joseph. Michael. I can see Michael is ako tayari kuzungumza, and then I'll go back to you, Jackson.
Okay. What I'd say, like Kenya does not live in an island. If you check, for example, Tanzania, Zambia, Uganda, all those countries actually don't have the regulation that we have for importation, and most the car selling companies in Japan are selling many units in that country, and they are building relationships for them. Because, for example, in my company, Trade Carview, at the moment, the sales for Kenya is a bit low because of the regulation. Number one, KRA revises the duty sometimes upwards, and also the regulation for the 8 years. In case the 5-year regulation comes into place as the government is proposing, we'll end up having a situation where like us as Kenyan, the ordinary Kenyan will not be able to afford a car. Nowadays, cars is no longer a luxury; it's a necessity. Then again, like I said earlier, the job layoffs will be there, and then also equally, generally, the demand for the local franchise holders are not going to meet the demand that currently we have as the used car importers. So I'd say Kenya is not unique in any way for us to reduce the age limit just like that drastically. In Japan, for example, there are units that they import. They import cars that are left-hand. Dubai, they do the same. Australia, they do the same. And actually, those are much more developed economies than us. So we totally respect the fact that President Uhuru Kenyatta wants the manufacturing sector to grow, but we're just saying time needs to be there. And it also needs to be consultative, because there are things which we feel as used car importers can be done fast. Things like, for example, furniture. We can work more on promoting the furniture, things like making furniture from Kenya, exporting to China, and etc. But automotive, we need a lot of time. That's all I can say.
Jackson, the government is planning to increase the share of GDP from the current 9.2 to 15% by 2022. If this policy is drafted, will it help our economy and our GDP?
The current contribution to manufacturing is 7.7. It's not 9.2, and the government intends to move this to 15% by 2022 under the Big Four agenda. As to whether the policy will drive towards achieving this, from where I see it, yes. One reason is that under current framework, the assemblers, and we have 3 mega assemblers in the country, they're operating at around 20% of their installed capacity. They have the ability to, at a single shift, make in a year 34,000 units, but they're hardly making that. As of 2017-2018, they were making around 6,000 hardly. And given opportunity, this is key for upscaling that. We have around 12 brands of the cars in the country, and we also have about 50 models of the same. So given opportunity, and I think as a country today, we do not have importation of matatus because we've been able to build up that industry. This is the trajectory and the path that we want to use as a country. As a country also, we also need to look at the employment side. The policy proposes adoption of what we call completely knocked down model of importation of a car. That is simply to say a car comes in broken down. When it comes in that form, there's a regulation that is in existence, and the government actually, we thank them for reviewing that regulation recently, that guides on how to handle the completed knockdown kits for assembly in the country. There's a lot of opportunities in terms of job creation in that there. Because you look at the whole value chain, yes, we agree, assembly is part of the manufacturing process. We are starting there because we want to also cascade downwards and also to integrate downwards to ensure that things like designing and it's done. So CKD, which is completely knocked down, gives more opportunities for assembly of the country, gives more in terms of job creation, value addition. There are components that the government, this kit comes in with or without as per the regulation, which allows them to locally source. So it will grow the periphery subsectors like component manufacturers who are able to supply these components. Things like, you remember we had Samia in the country, tires, they closed down due to the issues that are known to us. So we need to upscale that. No, otherwise, the jobs losses that will continue losing as a result of importing and more or less, I call it dumping, because you look at the kind of models and the designs and the kind of the cars that come in the country. Today you see a Vitz in this shape. If we had to grow the industry, look at it in the whole value chain. Are we able to domesticate a door of a Pro Box in the country? Why can't we have those franchises on the OEMs, that is original equipment manufacturers, setting up in the country? Isuzu and the likes of Toyota, where they get this original equipment, they can come and set up big time, assemble these Pro Box in the country and give them at affordable, given incentives that the government can give. I think we stand to gain by having the localization of the vehicles.
I think I will cut him short, and I'll give a very good example. When His Excellency the President was the Minister of Finance, there was a certain, I can't remember the exact year, but I remember he drove to the Parliament using a Volkswagen Passat, and he instructed that all the government agencies and all that, they would not use a vehicle more than 1,800 cc. The reason being, they wanted to scale down a vehicle to 1,800 cc and below to all the government agencies and all that. And he chose to drive a brand new Volkswagen Passat. That thing did not, I don't think he even took a ride in that car any other time, because they are saying that they want cars which will be less than 1,500 cc will not be affected. But they themselves, they wanted to use a 1,800 cc. But because it was not workable to them, because they all want to use the 3,000 cc and above and all that. So this is something that cannot work. That you want to marginalize this side, and then whereas you yourself you can't use the same. So by saying, okay, the other thing he said that about the shapes and all that, you can't force a common mwananchi to use a car with a taste that he doesn't have. I didn't want to mention the exact models which come in right now, but I'll use the VWs and all. I mean the Toyotas that we normally import. A work that a Pro Box uses, we all know that a Pro Box is called a donkey. It's a workhorse donkey because it does a lot of work. Which other brand new car which is being assembled in Kenya has the capacity to do the work that a Pro Box does? There's nothing, you can't compare. There's even no comparison. All the other cars which have been assembled for the last, we've had several cars which are brand new. They've been here for the last, like, let me take an example of 8 years. Which brand new car is on the road that was 0 mileage at the time of it getting to the Kenyan roads? Can you see it right now? But a Pro Box which was made in 2005, you'll still see it working very, very much. For them to start building in new cars with the capacity like the Pro Boxes and all that, I think it will take time.
Will it limit the variety of cars that are coming in?
Of course, they don't. Like he just talked about the Matatus. Do we have any variations of the Matatus? We only have the Isuzus. The Mitsubishis were there. They are no longer there. So you can see the same Matatu which was there in 15 years ago. It's the same Matatu that is being manufactured today. People need new tastes of new vehicles. As time goes, people need, and that's why I was talking, we have Vitz which has evolved from the very small tiny Vitz which was many people didn't like. Right now we have a very beautiful car, you see. So people, as time goes, we only see the cars which are manufactured here, like the Matatus as you see. They're the same, unless it's being fabricated on a different, zinaitwa sijui ni nganya ama zinaitwaje. But sio nyingi. Let me use that. So by saying that they will cut all now they will cut the importation completely, that will bring a disaster. The other thing is say that they have a capacity to build like 34,000 per year. The used car dealers are supplying 20,000 in 2 months.
20,000
in 2 months. They are manufacturing 34,000 in 1 year. Where is this deficit going to be? How is this deficit going to be filled? How is the deficit going to be filled? So to me, it will bring a disaster by stopping used car vehicles.
The government is planning, it will give directives to all government ministries, agencies and public agencies to localize the buying of cars and to buy local assembled cars. How will it affect you and you and you as Kenyans? Firstly, how will it affect the car companies which are importing Kenyan cars from outside like Japan and other countries? How will it affect you since you're a car dealer?
Of course, the job layoffs will be there. The revenue will be lost. And also, you also need to consider the people who are employed indirectly, because he actually, in our previous engagement, we had mentioned when the car gets to Mombasa, there's a driver who will drive it from the port to the CFS. Then there's a driver employed by the CFS. A CFS is a private port. So those are people who could be employed indirectly. In the private ports, there are people who sell lunch to the staffs there. Those are people employed indirectly, right? Then once the car is out from the port, there's a driver who will drive it to Nairobi, who is not employed full-time. He's a part-time driver. He's also employed indirectly. When it gets to the yard, there is someone who will need to take that car to the Sunday market. That is also someone who's employed indirectly. So the main thing that is going to happen is job losses. Actually, that's the main one. Then also revenue. Of course, the government can come up with better ways of making revenue apart from the automotive sector. But the revenue that is coming from the used car business is quite a lot. So that's going to be lost also. And many people will now be looking for jobs. And then eventually, you'll find a scenario where maybe some people will end up being petty thieves because they don't have anything to do. So already people who are employed right now and they're building their careers, they'll be laid off. And then again, now you see we can't again go to the local franchise holders to look for these jobs because already they have their staff. So the government, on a serious note, needs to consider us, because we also contribute very huge to the economy. And then again, it needs to be consultative. We feel, we totally support His Excellency the President Uhuru Kenyatta in terms of his agenda for manufacturing, but we feel the automotive sector is still not there yet. We are supposed to have time. I'd mentioned earlier for the commercial needs to work fast. We need, first of all, to make sure that the cars that are coming as CBUs, like you mentioned, the ones that are being taken to the fabricators, are they working well, number one? Are the fabricators making good bodies for the market? That is also another thing, because manufacturing sector for the fabricators is equally a contributor to the economy. So that is what needs to happen first. They cannot meet the demand of the used car, private cars. We're talking about private cars because a bigger percentage of the cars we sell are private cars. So, and that's why I mentioned earlier, if the local franchise holders can make the units that he mentioned, 34, as we're doing 20,000, and actually we are contributing to the economy a big deal. The CFSs get money, that's KPA, KRA gets money, KEBS gets money. There are cars that come from Singapore, inspection is done locally. What I'd just say, like, the government just needs to come with better policies to make sure that at least we encourage importation of newer cars. Like, for example, newer cars should be taxed less versus the older cars. Because for us here in Kenya, actually, on the roads we have older cars, and it's because the policy that we have right now is favoring older cars in terms of the tax. But if the taxman could say a 2019 car could cost the duty maybe 200,000 or 300,000, you don't have a reason not to buy a 2019 car. Okay. So that's what needs to be done.
Thank you. We'll come back to you, Jackson, after the break on the same issue. Na mtazamaji popote pale ulipo, kipindi ni Business Chat and Sabah Show. Tupate pumziko fupi, tarejea baada ya muda usio mrefu.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Quote of the day. Ali bin Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu said, "Never make a decision in anger. and never make a promise in happiness.
Walk with us as we tell you the stories of our society.
Wengine atavaa mtandio kichwani, utafikiri ni kijihandkerchief.
Enzi za wakati wa kusema ati alisema, akasisitiza, akihutubia wanahabari, enzi hizo hazipo tena.
Kuchimbua na kunakili matukio kwa undani.
We want to create current awareness.
Ranging from adventure, human interest and inspirational stories.
Ili kuweza kukuelimisha, kukuburudisha na kukubumbuisha.
Words have been said, but now it is time to lay the foundation that will impact the world.
Terrorism is terrorism, no matter who is behind the trigger.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mtazamaji, karibu katika awamu yetu ya tatu na mwisho ya Business Chat. Mada yetu ya leo, na iwapo serikali itaweza kutekeleza kuban importation of used cars, second hand cars, itaweza kuathiri vipi wewe? Na kama kawaida niko na paneli yangu ambapo tutaendelea. Jackson, inaregea kwako. If the government directs all the government agencies and public entities to localize and to local the assembled cars, do you think it will create a room for inventions, those graduates who are coming out straight from universities, to create more and more?
Yes, I think it's the right direction the government has taken. We appreciate the direction by the pronouncement by the cabinet secretary through the budget, that whole government agencies and even counties will be now locally sourcing of the available assembled vehicles. One, I want to clarify also to my colleague that 34,000 units per year is a single shift. So industry has capacity to work 3 shifts a day. So that gives you 34 times 3, and that gives you opportunities that comes with it. So in terms of whether it will create opportunity for innovation, yes, we do have some companies that are affiliates to Kenya Association of Manufacturers, who are members to Kenya Association of Manufacturers, that have come up with a model. I think that is Kenya, equivalent of the aspiration of what we had in Nyayo's time, that 70% of it is made from locally sourced parts. That gives opportunity for the industry to grow. When a single one job created in manufacturing sector creates 5 others outside there. Under the CKD framework that we are advocating for, and that the policy is even looking at adopting, as more opportunities. I've asked you, and I've also highlighted to you the nature of the CKD. When it comes in that breakdown form, there's a truck driver who brings that container. We have not less than 10 people being employed to offload that. Leave alone now going to assembly part, where now we are going to assemble that part to fix into this part. So we'll have a multiplier effect throughout the industry. Currently, the industry is employing around 12,000 people directly, and indirectly quite a huge number. When you compare this with the other countries like South Africa, which the industry is employing around 450,000 people, that's where the country can be. And we all know the economy is not going in tandem with the job-seeking environment. We have so many graduates who are coming out of the universities each and every year, but the economy is not growing to create those kind of equivalent. So if there is any avenue that government can take, and everybody in this country can do to create jobs in this country, then it's a good for the country. Yeah.
Local assembled cars are very expensive, and not all Kenyans can afford it. Will this move be a big blow to Kenyans, Mr. Moses?
Yeah, it will be a very big blow because, like, I'll give you also a good example. For one to go to to buy a new car, you cannot just walk into a car dealer for a new car and get out of the car in the next 5 minutes.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. It will take you, because there are so many logistics, unless they improve even on the logistics of buying a car. But for a used car, it may take just like 5 minutes and you already own a car. But for a used car, it takes, I think it takes a minimum of 3 weeks for you to get a car. So if you are a businessman, you wanted to buy a car to go directly to work, will you wait for 3 weeks? So I will challenge the assemblers also to ease the process of buying cars if they are to compete with the used cars in terms of the logistics of buying the car and all that. The other thing, based on the need and the supply of the cars, the cost of cars will go high because the demand will be very high and the supply will be low. So, as my colleague was saying, this thing we are not opposing it, but it needs to take time so that at least the inflow of the brand new cars and the inflow of the new cars will meet the supply, will meet the current need of the cars. So without that one, the cost of the cost of the cars will rise. So it will have a lot of impact on the common mwananchi.
Are we ready to assemble our own cars and manufacture our own cars as a country, Mr. Jackson?
Yes, I think we are. Like I've stated before, we are underutilizing the installed capacity, and given opportunity as a country and the assemblers, will be able to meet the demands necessary. I've told you we are operating at around 20%. That's a gap of 80%, and the companies are willing to do so. I've given you an example of the cars that, for example, Mobius Motors. I didn't want to mention some names, but Mobius Motors have come up with a very local made car. If we can be enough policy direction adoption, can really drive this. And you see the spillover effect of that in the forward and backward integration of the same, in terms of locally sourced parts and components, will go to spur the industry. And also, we should not also focus only on the vehicles, the cars at all. We also need to look at the motorcycles. How has that industry leveraged the industry in the country in terms of economy, contribution, jobs, employment? These are kids, these are assemblers who are assembling from what we call simple, complete knockdown kits. And you can see the number of jobs they are created in the industry. And that is where we are. Unluckily, still the industry and the motorcycle, they lack the regulation that is in there for the for vehicles. So if we can all look at it holistically, we are going to spur the economy, we are going to create the jobs, we are going to have graduates getting jobs either through their self-employment, and we are not only looking at the direct jobs, we are looking at the indirect jobs that are going to be created in a single, and I've given the example of one job created, 5 are created. I'll give you a simple example. When a brand new car is assembled in the country, just leave alone the jobs that are created in the assembly plant. When that car steps on the road, there's insurance person comes on board. There's a car washer who comes on board. There's a tire exchanger, the people who work on your tire when it goes bad. That's the minimum. We are talking about 3. Now we have so many people who will come on board on that. There are also the people you can see on the road will sell for you the wipers and also the things that you couldn't imagine that come on board as a sort of this. I resonate and say that market forces really will drive this industry to a far end when given opportunity.
Do cars which are imported, by the time they reach Kenya, have a lower lifespan, Michael?
Before answering that, you mentioned something, eh?
The
new cars that the local franchise holders are selling, that car, the only thing it will need is insurance. You've said wiper. You don't need a wiper in that car. It's a 0 mileage. You've said, what else have you said? There are many things you've mentioned about in case like that car is coming from a showroom, it will need. Those are the things which used cars require. Because, for example, if a used car comes from Japan, it has already been done inspection. So there are some cars which come with tires which are not, the tread is not very new. So that person will have to buy tires. So that's where now that importer will go to a tire shop and put tires. But the zero mileage cars don't need tires. So I think I need to clarify that.
Okay.
And then coming to your question, you're asking about what is the question?
My question is the lower lifespan, the cars which are imported.
Okay.
Do they have a lower lifespan?
No, because I think I'd say yes and no. Because the importer right now is liberal to decide what kind of car they want. Of course, the used car, some of them have lower mileage, some of them have high mileage. Depending on the mileage the car comes with, I'd say it depends on the condition, but we mostly front good condition cars, because, for example, from Japan, my colleague had mentioned, there are cars which we bring that have done 50,000 kilometers, and it's a 7-year-old car. That car is as good as new. There are things which will not change until the car is 100,000 kilometers. So us as a Japanese company, for example, we are very strict when it comes to the cars that we buy for our clients. So I'd say those cars, with the right service, with the right maintenance, they can serve you 10, 20 years. Because, for example, we still service clients, cars who we've sold cars 10 years ago, and they still come and say, that car you sold me, it's in good condition, I'm still using it, and it's maybe a 205, 206 car. So it depends on the maintenance. It's not an issue of being used, it has a shorter lifespan. Because even a zero mileage car, if the owner is reckless, if he does not do service, that car cannot serve that person as good as, for example, a used car which is better maintained.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Moses, I usually see stars behind the car which are imported. What does it mean?
Now, everybody, we have different people talking different about the stars.
Exactly.
But generally, the stars at the back of the car from Japan are always for emissions, emissions in Japan. So the higher, the more the stars, the better the car is in terms of emission. Yeah. So we normally have like 4 stars. The emissions are very low, 3 stars, 2 stars, and 1 star. But normally some people confuse saying that the stars at the back of the car is for the grade of the car and all that. But that's not true. Those stars are meant for the emissions of the cars, and that's why we only have them for cars in Japan only. Other countries, maybe they have their own versions of labeling the emission levels of the cars. Yeah, but those stars are purely meant for the emissions. Yeah.
Finally, in briefly, is Africa and Kenya the hub of importation of second-hand cars? Open to the floor.
Come again.
Is Africa the hub of imported cars?
Well, we can't say it's a hub of the imported cars, because the reason why we all import cars in Africa is because, one thing, we don't have the capacity to manufacture our own cars.
So we import the second hand.
Yeah, we import the second hands to fill in the gap, because people need mobility. So that's why we fill the gap using the second hand cars. But as he's talking about, given time, maybe in some years to come, we will have our own locally manufactured cars, given the capacity and all that. But as of now, we import the used cars as a convenience, because they are more convenient than getting our own assembly.
It's only a few countries in Africa that I think that have been able to make right direction for automotive: South Africa, Morocco, and Egypt. Those are some of the examples of the countries that have few cars that are imported, and that's what the narrative we want to change in the country. We don't need to export our jobs. When we import a car from Japan and yes, in short term, we are solving a problem. But in long term, we are creating a huge problem in terms of employment, because we are exporting all those jobs for the country. So I think it's the right time. We look and consume what is locally available, and we support whoever has come up and said we can, and then we support them, tell them if this is a standard, if it's Euro 4 emission standards that are required, we tell them this is how you need to do with a span of 5 years to reach there. These are some of the policy directions that I think government is intending to bring on board in goodwill of them and in good faith with the stakeholders' support. Yeah.
What is the way forward for this country come 2022 or 2023 or 2030? It's an open flow.
Okay, I'd say, like I mentioned earlier, the government needs to come up with better policies for automotive. Number one, I'd mentioned it needs to at least encourage the Kenyan buyer to buy a newer car in terms of taxes. For example, until we get to the point of having a locally assembled car or meeting the demand of that we have currently as used car importers, the policy things like duty calculation. For example, a 7-year-old car, you pay the least duty. The 2019, for example, 2018, 2017 car, that one, the government needs to encourage the importer. The duty should be less, such that we can import a newer car, which could be better in terms of the features, the safety, and etc. So I'd say, in tandem with the vision of 2030, I'd say we would like to have the cars assembled in Kenya, yes, but it needs to be consultative. Him from CAM, he needs to equally come and consult with various stakeholders. Of course, with the used cars, there are people like guys who do financing, like microfinancing companies. They are equally on board, and most of them, they source cars from us, because the person going to a local franchise holder to buy a car is someone like a parastatal or someone who has that purchasing ability. The ordinary Kenyan is looking to buy a car, a good quality car, for the best competitive price. That is why when you go to the Sunday market, you find many people selling cars, and you'd realize most of the dealers locally are selling because the prices are competitive and the car is a good quality.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Michael. Thank you so much, Mr. Jackson. Thank you so much, Mr. Moses, for your input. It has helped me and everyone out there. Naam, mtazamaji, tumeweza kufika tamati ya kipindi Business Chat. Jina langu ni Ibtisam Jamal. Nakumbuka hapo kesho tuungane na Mariam Mwacharo katika Healthy Thursday, ambapo anaangazia masuala ya afya na kuathiri wewe. Usiende mbali, endelea kutazama Horizon TV. Pia nashukuru producers wangu akiongozwa na Isa Mtama na wote walioweza kufanikisha kipindi hiki. Tuonane tena Jumatano lijalo.
Kwa jina nilobarikiwa nalo ni Ibtisam Jamal. Ungana nami katika Sabah Show
on Horizon TV.